The other one that gets brought up is, well, rents and house prices will just increase. And that this is all of our gains will disappear and we'll be back to zero. What's your response to that line of attack on a basic income?
So first of all, I think that's a useful line of attack if what you're saying is the only policy we need is a basic income and you don't need to do anything else at all. And if that's your position, then I think there are some problems with it because housing is a real issue, quite separate from basic income and is hard to reconcile with it. But other than that, there is some quite good evidence now recently published over the summer from Ahuri that looked at the impact of rent assistance increases. And that is a useful kind of corollary to this. And they found that rent assistance in areas where almost everyone's on rent assistance, so that's similar to if everyone got a new basic income and they were all on low incomes, right? Did increase rents, but it increased rents by about 10% of the increase in rent assistance. So I think it will absolutely, if you generally speaking, if you give a group of people more money, the things that group of people spend their money on will go up in price. That will happen. So the things that low-income people spend their money on, particularly low-income housing, will go up in price if there isn't other policies to address housing. But it won't go up by anywhere near as much as their increase in income will go up. So they'll still be better off.
So the increase won't absorb the total. The increase in house prices won't absorb the whole amount, is what you're.
No, not even a majority of it.
Before Josh, I want to add a little bit more there. So
I might need to give a 5-minute warning too, just to let you know that I promised my partner I'd go downstairs at some point.
Okay, well, we've got 10 minutes left. Is that
work? 10 minutes, yeah. Sorry, I thought it was 7:30, but I misrepresented it to her.
Sorry, I've booked it for an hour and a half. I'm sorry, I may not have made that entirely clear if you've been expecting to get. Anyhow,
all good. That's fine.
We'll be wrapping up in 10 minutes. Josh will get to you. I would suggest that there's another thing. One of the things that's happening is at the moment you see this sort of struggle between the central bank, the Reserve Bank, and the government. And there's a sort of where the government's like, everything's fine, the recovery's underway, we don't need any more money, and the Reserve Bank doesn't seem to agree, and it's pushing interest rates down really low as a way of stimulating the economy. And so sure, a basic income or any kind of government spending or wage increase, any kind of redistribution of income is going to push up house prices to some extent, but nothing pushes up house prices like really cheap interest rates can, right? So we've got these, this staggering increase in house prices during an economic downturn at the moment because of the central bank response. And my feeling is that if you actually had a basic income, then you would see some inflationary pressure, and the Reserve Bank would respond by with some tightening of monetary policy, which would deflate or at least stop the rapid inflation of asset bubbles in general, such as including housing. What do you think of that basic premise?
Yes, certainly the deep stagnation we're in is creating this kind of asset version of capitalism where profits are realized through capital gains, not through increases in revenue streams. That's completely true. I think there is a version of that, though, that collateralizes all new streams of income. And so there's certainly some evidence from universal type payments for the poor in South Africa and Brazil that what most of those payments end up going towards is debt repayments. And that, which is not actually necessarily a bad thing. It means that people are on top of their payments and they can get the little bit of capital they need to be able to start up a small business and all sorts of things. But I imagine, like we're seeing, it's first home buyers that are actually pushing up house prices currently. It's not investors. And if you increased the incomes of people and you don't change anything else in the system, I think capital would find a way to make claims over those income streams by pushing up housing costs and other utility costs from private monopolies, essentially.
So we still need other action. We still need other action from the government in these markets. We still need public housing, public utilities, stuff like that. Yeah.